I'm Jared Craig of Veterans for Trump, also known as Veterans for America First. I have the pleasure of endorsing Joe Earley, who is a candidate for West Virginia's 2nd Congressional District. He's seeking to go to Washington, D.C. and represent his district with the America First agenda. So, Joe, I want to say good to see you again and welcome onto the show.
Well, thanks, Jared, and good to see you again as well. And I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I want you to share, in a nutshell, a little bit about who you are, what motivated you to seek public office, what your platform is, and what are the first three things that you're going to do once you get in office?
Well, Jared, I tell you, I'm from West Virginia originally. I went in the military in 1982, retired after 20 years of service, retired as a first sergeant. I was combat arms, as you can see behind me right here. I had a pretty stellar career in the military. Retired, came back to West Virginia. I've always been a fervent supporter of the Constitution, fervent supporter of our constitutional rights. So I came back home, and just like a lot of Americans, all I wanted to do was, enjoy my life, continue to work, raise my family, raise my grandkids, enjoy life, and live the American dream. Well, after Obama was elected into office, and we had to deal with Schumer and Pelosi and all the Democrats, I saw this transitioning going on in our country, and really is about 8 to 10 years of decay. And after President Trump was elected or ran, when he came down that escalator, of a lot of us soldiers, a lot of veterans stood up and said, you know what, that's our guy. He's what represents us. And I started getting a little bit more hyper involved as just a voter, as a constituent. And so I decided to run in March. And it was a hard decision. It really was. Like I said, I just want to live the American dream. And then it's like, do I really want to put myself through the political grind, seeing what goes on in that world as I become a little bit more hyper political? And I went ahead and threw my hat in. And I would tell you, the reason that I run is I just know that as a veteran, I've already served my country, that I have the backbone and the skills necessary to stand in Congress tomorrow. On day one, after elected, I can go on the Hill and serve West Virginia's 2nd District immediately. I know what the problems are, but the largest problem is my opponent, what they like to look at is they like to look at the wounds caused from the root problem. And here's what the root problem is in America. We have an insurgency of communism all throughout our government. Things that I have fought for and signed a blank check for in 1982 when I joined the military. I went in to fight communism under the Reagan administration and stayed on through 20 years of service. I never thought in my lifetime that I would see communism raise its ugly, decayed head in our country, destroying our freedoms, destroying our liberties, our individual rights are under attack.
So this families.
Our families,
between
yes,
parents and children.
It is. And part of my platform, I mean, you ask about my platform, the largest part of my platform is I'm extremely pro-life, I'm pro-family. I want to fight for a secure border. We need national security. I'm also a pro-growth economic development and fiscal responsibility conservative. I'm a constitutional conservative. I'm a fighter. I will fight for parental rights, school choice, veterans' rights and care. And American energy has been basically obliterated through policy from the Biden administration. They're shutting everything down. They're trying to import more from foreign countries, specifically our adversaries. Then they bring in the Green New Deal. It's a complete and utter failure. It's causing massive inflation. It's subdued our energy output here of using American energy. And, to be honest with you, our constitutional republic is in a fight for its life as it stands right now.
And also the Green New Deal is harming the economy because you have large corporate conglomerates that are doing non-governmental compliance, and that's harming their stock share and their productivity, and the investors are being harmed.
Well, you mentioned something, these corporations, these investment firms like BlackRock, State Street, and so on,
Vanguard.
yeah, Vanguard. I mean, there's more than that. There's more than just those three, but those are the big three. And they should be sued. I think we've had this conversation. They should be sued because they're not looking out for the capital for their investors. Because their job is not to seek environmental social governance and diversity, equity, inclusion, and say, okay, let's just call this inclusive capitalism. And we're going to say, through this capitalism, if you want capital for your business to survive, then you have to enforce ESG and DEI down the corporate structure. Well, all that does is increase the rot in the United States, but now it's taken a backdoor to the Constitution. These are corporate entities now that are usurping our constitutional rights.
Right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. We've met several times. We've had many discussions, and we are endorsing you for several reasons, but the primary reasons are two. You're both capable and qualified, meaning that you don't need a lot of on-the-job training. You're coming off the sidelines with a game plan. You have a plan in place, like you said on day one. You're capable, you're qualified, and you're willing to do the job that is necessary for your district and therefore the American people. So I want people to know, if they want to learn more about your race, Joe Earley, Joe Earley for WestVirginia.com. Share your website, social media handles so they can find out more about you, possibly donate their time by volunteering or some financial assistance to support you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a grassroots candidate. I'm not I will state this as a veteran who's already served my country. I am not a career politician. I am the only candidate in our district as congressional candidate that's already signed the taxpayer protection pledge. I am also the only candidate who has signed off on that. I believe in term limits. Okay. My other opponent, he's an establishment Republican. He's a rhino, and that's what we're fighting. We got to fight it. We just saw that across the board last night. We have low voter turnout because a lot of Republicans are just not into it. They think, oh, whoever's on the primary is going to make it to the general election. So let's just go with it. And then we don't hold that same person elected to a high standard. And then we end up with the Democrats, just like in Kentucky last night. The Democrats maintained the gubernatorial race in Kentucky last night with Andy Beshear. It's pathetic. That's because of rhino politicians, and we have got to force them out. It's time for a new breed of conservative Republicans to stand up and take our country back. If we do not do it in 24, we're going to lose our country. We will lose our country. And the Democrats, they're a machine. But I will tell you what, you can visit my website at Joe Earley, 4 WV.com. I am on Twitter. I am on Facebook. Okay, for my political pages and my political Twitter, at Joe Earley 4 WV and Joe Earley 4 WV.2 or #2. And I'm also out on Rumble, YouTube, and Instagram. So as a former cybersecurity engineer or current cybersecurity engineer who's now running for a political office, like I said, I am not a career politician. I'm a grassroots candidate, and I could really use any support financial. I'd like for individuals to vote for me. We're close to the election. Our election here in West Virginia, West Virginia at large, is on May the 14th, 2024. And really in West Virginia, that is our general election, because whoever makes it out of the primaries will go on to win the November election. So I look for your support, financial. I really need your support. I'd love to have your vote, but we have to really, really get our message out there. My opponent worked as a Democrat for 13 years, came back to West Virginia after working for the Podesta Group, supporting Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. That's what the rhinos are. That's what the rhinos want. They put these people who work for the Democrat Party for all these years work against conservative causes, then they call themselves a Republican and everybody believes it. We Republicans, true conservatives, it's time for us to stand up and vet these individuals that are running for political office, because they're what's causing the problems that we're facing today. And it's a long-term problem, and we're in the long war to take our country back.
Well, we are behind you. If I lived in West Virginia, I would vote for you. And so I call to action. If you live in West Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, look up Joe Earley. Look up his background. See who you are, who your options are, and vote with your conscience, because it's an easy vote for Joe Earley. So thank you for coming on. I look forward to seeing you in DC.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the support of the Vets for America First and Vets for Trump. And I got y'all's back here in West Virginia, too, as the state president for this organization.
You got me on speed dial anytime you need me.
Thank you, sir.